Hello and welcome. This video is a quick introduction into Gemini's functionality. We're not going to be doing a deep dive into anything in particular. Rest assured, anything that you want to know more about, there will be more advanced videos where you can dive into each one of these functionalities. But what I want to do is I want to give you an idea of the playing field so that you know what is available within the Gemini apps, and actually to talk about the privacy aspect of it. So I'll show you what that looks like and where that is. And then I'm going to compare that to the personal version, because what I've got here is this is the workspace version. So this is using it through my business. And then there's the personal version that you can use personally as well. And there are some differences between the two. So I'm just going to run through these and show you what it's all about, right? So first and foremost, we've got new chat, which you can see here, and that's going to allow us to have a conversation with Gemini, and there's lots of functionality within this particular part, which we're going to come back to as well. You've got my stuff. If I click into that, that's going to be all of the images that I've done, all of the documents that I've done, etc., etc. It's all going to be stored in there. We've got gems, and I'm going to dive into that section in just a minute, but a gem is essentially a set of instructions that you give to Gemini, and it will repeat that again. So as an example, a standard chat, you're going to go in and have a conversation that's fairly ad hoc. And then a gem is when you're doing that same thing over and over again, you want to create a gem that will then repeat that. So the example that I give is, imagine you've got a temporary member of staff, they're going to come in and you need to retrain a new temporary member of staff every time they come in. If you realize that then you are bringing that person in regularly, you probably want to bring in a permanent member of staff. Similar situation. So when you realize you're using that conversation regularly, you're going to want to consider creating a gem with that, and we will have a video specifically for that as well. These are all of the chats, so I ask it about all sorts of different things, and we run lots of examples through here. This is where your activity is stored, and then you've got your settings in here as well. So if I go ahead and I click into that, you've got things like connected apps. So if I click into connected apps, you'll be able to see that I can turn on my Google Workspace. So it connects into my Gmail, my Google Calendar, etc. So that means that when I have a conversation, I can query a lot of these things here. And then you've got things like GitHub, Asana, HubSpot, MailChimp. You can connect these directly in, which means you can ask Gemini questions about each one of those applications. Okay, so there's lots of really great uses, and they'll be adding more features as well on the daily. Hey, I'll go back into settings as well. So you've got connected apps, you've got scheduled actions. So when you ask a question to Gemini, what you can actually do is you can ask it to repeat that every single day. And every Monday at 9 a.m, I've got research the most recent AI, etc. Yeah, so you've got all of that in there. You can change your theme. As you can see, I've got dark. You can upgrade if you want to go to Google Ultra. We're on expanded at the moment, as you can see. And then there's something called Notebook LM, which we will have a separate video for. Notebook LM is one of the most powerful functionalities available within the Google suite, and I absolutely advise everybody to go and have a play around with that. So that's just to give you a bit of an idea. So I'm going to start, as I mentioned, with the activity side of things. So if I click into this activity button, while I'm on the Google Workspace, it looks slightly different, as you'll see. And I can click this button, and what you'll see is when you're using Gemini for tasks involving your organization, it actually won't use the data to train or improve their models. However, on the free version, it's not exactly the same as that. It will potentially be using your data to train those models, so you can turn that off. So we've got activity on here because it's no issue, because it's using that enterprise grade security. However, if you're on the free personal version, again, because this is just one of the free accounts that I've got as an example, you've got all of the similar functionality. So you've got my stuff, you've got gems, start a new chat, you've got all the buttons there that are available as well. But then if I go into settings and privacy, you can see that I've got additional functionality. So I've got instructions, so I can give Gemini specific instructions. Connected apps is the same. Any links that I've shared, so if I've shared a chat, those are where the public links live. And then I can view my subscription, Notebook LM, send feedback, help. And then if I click on activity here, what you'll see is I have the option to turn off the activity there, and it will tell you. So your future chats won't appear in your activity and won't be used to train our AI models. So the fallback of this is that you won't then have any history in your chats, right? So where you see on here, I've got all the history of previous chats. If you turn this off, it won't use your data to train those models, and you won't have chats available there. So that's just the thing to remember. Okay, so those are the differences. So as I just showed you, those are some of the core differences between the personal and the workspace version of Gemini, just to give you a bit of an idea. As I mentioned, this probably being one of the coolest functionalities that I wish was on ours. You can add specific instructions for Gemini, which is going to give it, I prefer short, as you can see there, short responses, or I want you to use UK English or anything like that. So you're giving it specific instructions. I would imagine that's going to be available within the workspace version of Google Gemini soon as well. Okay, so we've dived into that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a new chat and I'm going to show you all of the tools that are available. Again, we're going to have breakout videos that show you all of these things. If you like to explore by yourself, I'd really advise you doing that. Jump in, test out some of these tools, see what they're capable of. I promise you, you'll be blown away some of the things that can happen with this, right? So obviously, I can do a standard prompt. I can click this little plus button. I can upload files. I can connect from the drive as well. So as I mentioned, I've connected up my Google Drive. So if I click that, that will open up a window that will allow me to attach documents. I can import code as well. Again, that might not be something that you'll need to do. And then you've got Notebook LM, which is one of the tools that I mentioned. If you click on that, you can actually import notebooks as well. As you saw in the settings, you can access Notebook LM from here. Notebook LM is an incredibly powerful tool. We will be doing a video on this specifically because it needs its own video, but it's absolutely fantastic. And if you connect a Notebook LM, you'll have all of the information from within there available to the AI within the chat. Okay, and then on this side, you've got the choice between fast and thinking. So that just means that basically it's going to respond fairly quickly versus thinking about it for a little while. So it's problem solving. And then on ours, as you can see, we've got Pro. And then if I go through to the standard version, I've got fast thinking Pro, and then if I want to upgrade, I can do that too, right? So you can see that those models are available within there as well. So they're very similar with some small differences, but that's the thing to think about, right? So then if I click on tools, this is where a lot of fun happens. Obviously, we can create image using Nano Banana, fantastic name. And then you've got Canvas, which is a very, very powerful tool. So I'm just going to say, create me a proposal template so that you can see what this looks like, because what Canvas will do is it's going to open on the right hand side a little window, as you can see there. And a really cool thing about this is you can collaborate with the AI on this as well. So if I highlight some of that, I can ask it to do something else, and then I can also come in and I can start typing something new as well. Okay, so this is an excellent collaborative tool that you can use on Gemini. Absolutely fantastic. Really advise testing this out, but don't worry, we'll do a deeper dive into that as well. Create images speaks for itself. Canvas, you've got deep research. Now, deep research, what that will do is that is going to essentially do a much longer deep dive, right? So if I say research AI adoption in the UK, it's going to do a much deeper dive into that specific topic, and it's going to create a research plan, which I will then confirm, and I can change that research plan as well. So you can see that it's just pinwheeling there for a second, and there's the plan. I can edit the plan, and I can then submit the plan and say looks good. So this is the current plan. What do I want to change? And I can say if I want to change that one or add something in, then I can do that. And if I say nothing, looks good, what will happen is it will start deep research, or it's going to recreate the plan, and then it will start deep research, and this takes anything between 5 and 15 minutes, and that's going to pull out a very comprehensive report that you can review. The thing to remember is that AI still does hallucinate, so you are going to need to fact check that, but it does include the sources of the information, so it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so I'm just going to let that do its thing. I'm going to come back to a new chat because we don't need to worry about diving deep on this session. This is an overview of what's available, and I'm going to click back into tools, and we've got create video. Another one that they added quite recently is create music. Both of these are self-explanatory, but of course they're lots of fun, and we'll dive into them separately. And then you've got guided learning, which is very cool because what this does is it actually doesn't give you the answer to your question. What it actually does is it focuses on helping you find the answers yourself and gets you kind of using a bit of critical thinking as well. Really, really cool bit of functionality there. Okay, so we sort of walk through some of the key features available directly within Gemini. We're going to dive into how you use some of those and prompts separately. And then I'm going to talk to you about gems. So as I mentioned before, a gem is basically a set of instructions that you are going to give to Gemini, and then it will open up a chat within Gemini that does that same thing over and over again. And you can give it a description, you give it the instructions, and a really cool thing is my marketing agent, right? So if I say that, if I click this little button here, makes your life even easier because it's then going to create a more detailed prompt, and then you can fill that in as well. This is then going to be fulfill that same task every single time, and you can give it a knowledge base. So if you click here, you can give it a knowledge base as well. So Google Drive, Notebook LM, everything like that, and that is going to do a specific task, same thing every single time. Okay, so that's just to give you a bit of a flavor of what's possible within Google Gemini, there's a whole wealth of other tools that they have. This is specifically within the Gemini chat functionality, and they are adding things every single day. So I really advise and really encourage everybody to go and mess around with some of these tools. Stay curious, because curiosity is the absolute key. It's so fundamental. It's how you get good at these tools. So I really hope you enjoyed this very quick walkthrough, and get stuck in, stay curious, and I will see you on the next one.